The first step in measuring the mainsail is to verify the head dimensions. Here we have the head marked out on the piece of red tape. The overall distance from the front edge of the luff to the back edge of the headboard is 4 3/4 inch distance. So we're going to check that, and that is in spec. So from here to here is in spec. And we also need to check the headboard distance, which is from the inner edge of the headboard to the back edge of the headboard. That is a 4-inch distance. We're going to use the same mark here on the left and just shift it over, and that is also in spec. So we're going to have that held in place exactly on the inner edge of the line by our assistant, and then we're going to stretch the luff out and measure the luff. So I would pull this taut. Now you see this is an older sail, okay? The luff rope has shrunk, so it's quite a bit short here. But what I'm checking is the intersection between here and here. This position is the tack. We're going to check the leech, same thing with the head. I've got a distance here. I'm going to pull it down. Again, we're checking imaginary lines from here to here, and that's a definition of where the clue is, and that is also well within distance here. So when we're checking this, we're going to make the definition here of the clue be an extension of the bolt rope, the bottom of the bolt rope here, and the back edge of the leech. So we have to be checking a point on this. It's essentially the same point here as the bottom of the lug, and we would be checking that against this line for the leech. We would also use this same point to check for the dimension on the foot. So I'm going to go down here and pull the foot into the corner, and we'll see that the dimension for the foot is okay. So I'm going to position this, and again we're doing an extension of the bolt rope, the front edge of the bolt rope, and the bottom edge of this bolt rope would be the into the corner here. And so we hold that in position and then tension the far side and check that. And I've actually already checked it, but if we tensioned it, we would see that that is also within dimension. But you have to be very careful here to figure out the imaginary intersection when you're defining where the tack location is. Okay, the next thing we have to do is we're going to take the head all the way down to the tack, and we need to mark the half points, the midpoints of the sail. So we're going to take the head here and put it in that imaginary junction where the tack is, and our assistant is going to hold that there. Typically hold it with her hand. We'll do it with the right foot. And what I'm doing as she's holding that securely is I'm going to pull this tight and fold it over halfway here. And I'm going to make a mark on the inside of the fold, exactly in the middle, right here with a good marker, so I can see it. And that's defining the halfway point on the luff. I would now, back up, I would now do the same thing over here for the leech. So again, I'm going to position the back of the headboard right here in the imaginary extension of the corner, and have the assistant hold it. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here, pulling this tight and then marking the inside of the fold with a marker where you can see that. Okay, so now we have to mark quarter location on each of the leech and the luff. And we have to essentially do the same type of operation where we would bring the back edge of the headboard to the mark that we just made when we folded it in half. That would be held, I will just illustrate now, that would be held in place by an assistant, and then we would make a mark on the inside edge. We would then do the same thing, swing over and find our mark on the halfway point of the luff, position it, and then we would make our mark. In this case, it's a little hard to see the mark here, but you can see it on the side, so sometimes you have to transfer it to the inner edge. So that would be held there by the assistant. Again, it's very important. I'm just doing this to show as we're shorthand, but you would mark the inside edge of this. This dimension right here is the most critical dimension. Most mainsails, if they fail, they will fail on that dimension. So we have to make sure that this top quarter, the 3/4 mark, is very precise if we can. So make sure you're having somebody hold it exactly on the mark that you made, the reference mark there. Then, essentially what we would do is repeat that same process, only this time we're going to take the sail, and it's easier than an assistant, but we are going to bring this up, have your assistant hold it in that location. We would tension this back edge here and make our mark on the inside. Then we're going to swing it over. Repeat the same thing on the luff. Again, we would have an assistant hold it at that imaginary location here. And hold it securely. And then make a nice crisp mark on the inner fold so that you could see it. And then we are going to lay our sail back out. You're going to have to measure between the marks that you just made on the luff and on the leech as you're going across. But the critical part about this is, if this is my mark here, I am going to measure from the back side of the bolt rope, right here where it would be sewn. So you do not want to measure from here like this. You want to measure here from mark to mark and note that distance. Okay? Make sure you're nice and square. So you're going from mark to mark, and then you would move down. If you can have your assistant hold it. Again, do it with your hand, please. Right on the inside. No.
At the
inside
rope,
edge. Right? Yep. To this mark over here. And I would be checking the distance. And then I would do the same thing at the third location there. Here. And I would check it across to the mark there. It's convenient if you have your tape measure pre-marked off with the distances. The distances are in the class specs for each one of those quartiles. The top one, again, is the one that fails the most. If you measure a sail and it fails, the first thing I would do is repeat the process, marking with a different color and making sure that you've got your half-point marks and your quarter and 3/4 marks in the right spots. And
sometimes that will fix the problem. It was just a problem in how you made the initial marks.